You are certain you remember nothing of this place?
Oh, nothing that would help us. Tell me, brother, why exactly are we doing this?
I do not know.
Oh, that's comforting. Look, I know you expect more from the smartest man alive, but Odin always kept me in the dark about this place. Which is why I urged you to seek Freya's guidance. Repeatedly.
She does not seem eager to speak with me.
Well, quite the opposite, brother. But you tell yourself whatever you need to.
I see a shore ahead. Black sand.
Exactly as described in the invitation. We finally bloody made it.
Something is happening.
Back to basics, then. Doesn't seem anyone's here to welcome us.
Locked.
I don't suppose you'll take that as our cue to turn around and leave?
Reatha Sialfor, Sinum Hautum.
To be one's own master.
Master thyself.
A more poetic way of putting it, but yes. We're back outside.
You marched into Valhalla without even talking to us first?
Nice to see you too, milady.
It was a personal matter, and I would not take you from your duties.
You breached Valhalla. Consider it worth my time. This entrance is secret. Who told you of this place?
Nailed to our door 3 days ago.
Kratos of Sparta, you are hereby invited to a challenge. Face the past, face the future. Master Valhalla, master thyself. And then directions here, no signature.
Who else knows of this entrance?
Odin and us. It's likely a trap.
You're thinking of going back in.
Would you join me?
Oh, don't let me intrude on your personal matter. Besides, I can't. Unlike the two of you, I've never died.
What happens if I return inside?
Well, that depends on you. Valhalla draws from the memories of those who enter. In there, you're an open book. Sure, you want to go back in.
How did you even get past the gate?
I forced it open.
With his bare hands.
He forced it open.
There's an easier way if you insist on going back in. Come.
Sigrun, maybe later we could continue with that one conversation.
For once, Mimir. I think you've said enough.
Ah, right then.
And the other matter we discussed? You're still thinking, I take it?
I am.
Is that what this is? Guess I'll let you think, then.
Step up to the gate when you're ready to proceed.
I am ready.
Air, Gunnr, with me. Now you can enter Valhalla by this gate, without suffering the penalty of breaching.
Thank you, Sigrun.
Brother, I must admit, Freya's idea does make quite a bit of sense to me. What better god of war could the realms ask for than the general who won Ragnarok, and won it trying to save lives? With you on board, our whole peacekeeping council could really do some good.
Its position, its title. I have held it before. You know what happened. She knows what happened.
Of course we do. But why should who you used to be matter more than who you are now? Can't you see how far you've come?
However far I have come, I have done it running from that life, that title, that throne.
Aye.
I do agree with you about Freya's council. It is a noble idea. It should succeed on her merits.
How's that, brother?
Freya is known to the realms and native to them, respected by all. An experienced leader.
Experienced enough to know that a shared power is best for the people.
That she would share power proves she is worthy to wield it.
Even so, why make her wield it alone? Without Odin, the realms have a chance to forge a new peace. When conflicts do arise and can't be talked through, a god of war ensures those conflicts have rules and enforces them. They need might and judgment, and credibility across the realms. Who else would she pick, brother? Seems there's a way at hand to bargain with Valhalla directly.
Freya knows I would not refuse to aid her when in need. I have done and will do my part to fight for peace, regardless of title, regardless of whether I sit in authority.
You know as well as I do there's power in words, oaths. The people need to know you're committed, to them and to yourself. That you'll be there for them, and I know that you will. I understand you've got misgivings, man, but you've put your past behind you. We all see it.
You do not know everything that I am.
That you were. You've told me of your past, and yes, much of it was horrible. But you've proven over and over again that you're not that man anymore.
Where is Freya?
Away for the moment. As you know, she's attending to many things presently. Establishing a new governing body for the realms is no simple task. There are leaders to find and recruit, negotiations for sharing power. I'm sure she'd prefer to be here, but you'll have to make do with the three of us for now.
I'm sure we're in excellent hands. If there's an upside to this Valhalla madness, at least it's good to see you in action again. You're already more your cheery self than I've seen in moons. Without Atreus or a fight in front of you, I wonder after your well-being.
Combat can be clarifying.
Remember, Kratos, the deeper into Valhalla you venture, the greater the danger. And I don't just mean physically.
I understand.
Yes, we'll try not to go mad. I must admit, Sigrun, Valhalla isn't exactly what I imagined.
You're experiencing only a very small part of it. One that's independent and unconnected from the rest of Valhalla. Elsewhere, there are larger neighborhoods where the dead reside. Socializing, playing games, drinking, fighting. But one must earn the right to join their fallen comrades. New arrivals run a gauntlet. A personalized, self-contained version of what you're doing. It's meant to help the dead process the lives they lived. Those who are worthy, who have found some measure of closure, are allowed to move forward. Those who are unable to resolve their lives are forever trapped in their personal Valhalla. Some just prefer to keep fighting here.
Sigrun, how fare you and your sisters?
With just the three of us to attend to the fallen now, we're short-handed. But we've begun recruiting new shield maidens.
Well, I happen to know of one lass who'd jump at the chance to join your ranks.
You mean Thrud? Sif and Thor's daughter? Believe me, I know. She sought us out before the call even left our lips.
She fights well and can be trusted.
A recommendation from you, General. With that, how could we ignore her? Not that she'd let us.
Sigrun, dear, as Kratos and I have been off the beaten path, so to speak, I'm curious as to the state of the realms.
Well, since my sisters and I returned to our old Valkyrie duties, the souls of the damned no longer find the gates of Helheim closed to them. So...
No more Hellwalkers spilling into the other realms? Grand!
I can't say no Hellwalkers are left in the realms, but there are fewer. Grasvelger seemed pleased. Or at least I think that's what her expression meant.
What is this?
You recognize your old seat, don't you? Kratos. I have not forgotten the debt I owe you.
Do you really think he understands this? This still feels reckless.
Here they are now.
That's odd. We're back outside, but we didn't... you know.
Sometimes you reach as far as you're ready to go. Valhalla's decision, or yours? Does this mean you're done in there?
No. I will discover who invited me. I believe I am close.
You're sure it's worth dying for?
Oh, I think we're fairly accustomed to dying at this point.
Don't be glib, Mimir. Valhalla restores you after honorable death in combat, but beyond that, it makes its own rules. And if you don't play by them... Kratos, the threat of death in there is real.
That is good to know.
If by good, you mean wildly disconcerting.
I do wish you luck. Truly.
Look, brother, the fog's lifted. Valhalla's becoming more open to you, perhaps. So much to see in the distance there. You can see how all the little realm spaces connect to the higher plane. And those statues are certainly imposing.
I recognize them. They are judges of the underworld, from my homeland.
Ah, well, you sound thrilled to see them again.
Souls they deemed righteous were granted entrance to the Elysian fields. Those deemed wicked were cast into Tartarus.
Ah, yes, where the souls of the damned were tortured. Why has your mind manifested them here, I wonder?
We all know what you're capable of. Glad to see you're not quitting.
Milady, how is Alfheim these days? Does the peace hold?
It's tenuous, but holding. Endless war tends to breed quite a bit of mistrust. Thankfully, the elves, Bela and Bigvir, are in positions of influence due to their association with Freya and involvement in Ragnarok. It's the best chance at lasting peace the realm has ever had.
What about the findings in the Consul's journal? Have they shared it with the rest of the elves?
Not yet, but give them time.
Brother, whose voice was that we heard when Valhalla sent us back from the throne?
You heard it also.
Aye. Said he owes you a debt, was it? Someone who might lend us a hand, perhaps?
Unlikely. He was a god of Greece, and we did not come to terms.
And by that you mean... yes, I see. No shortage of bitter old ghosts in these parts. These parts being your memory, of course. Ah, Midgard in memoriam. Ah, I'm starting to see there's no fixed order to the realms we'll visit here. Brother, that throne we saw, did you recognize it? Was it familiar?
It was mine. The throne I took from Ares. It is a throne of monsters.
Ah, the anxiety of power made manifest. A symbol you're no doubt meant to consider.
It is a symbol I reject.
That might not quite close the book on matters. A symbol can't be slain, destroyed, or ignored. The best measure is often to reclaim it, redefine it. Remind us it's not the throne, but the god who sits in it. Sigrun, been wondering, are the remaining Vanir and Aesir playing nice in Vanaheim?
The Asgardian relocation hasn't exactly been smooth sailing. But Hildisvini and Lady Sif are keeping the ship headed in the right direction. The people seem to understand compromise is their best path to prosperity, at least.
Truth be told, I was hoping the old bore would have to call on me to smooth things over. But it's good to hear he and Sif have it under control.
Freya hopes they'll join the council once the peace settles.
Why don't we talk about that image of you in the shrine we keep seeing? If Valhalla keeps pulling it out of your head, it must have some significance to you. Could it be that the idea of being loved and respected is a fair mite better than the alternative? Now, hear me out. And it's not as though I'm the smartest man alive or anything. But don't you think joining Freya's council could put you in a position to walk that path? To earn that path?
That would be a poor reason to accept. Ambition is poison. I will hear.
Early in my life, before I was a Valkyrie, I was a healer in a small village. My father trained me in the use of herbs and natural remedies. To him, coming from a long line of herbal healers, that was the only true medicine. But visiting the city, I saw healers who used magic. Only magic, to treat their patients. I'd seen it work, and work wonders. I tried to tell my father, but he said mage healing was against his philosophy, a dangerous shortcut that violated tradition. Being a good daughter, I respected his convictions. But that all changed when he took ill. That's a good place to stop for now. When you're further along on your journey, I'll share the next part of my story.
Go ahead.
I wasn't born with the privilege of some of my sisters in arms. I wasn't bred for greatness. I was just the daughter of some poor innkeeper. Matter of fact, I wasn't even his. He just raised me after somebody left me there. I didn't have much going for me, but I had one thing. I wasn't afraid of anyone. If somebody was asking for a punch in the face, I never thought twice. Brought a heap of trouble on myself that way, it's true. But I sure learned how to fight. Enough for now. I'll pick that up later.
Sigrun, love, what's the latest on Midgard?
Life returns at last. After the Hellwalker desolation was followed by Fimbulwinter, I wondered if people would ever come out of hiding, or if there were any left to. But flowers bloom, the sun shines, and it's safe to travel the roads and rivers again. No one even seems to mind the giant serpent sunning himself across the mountaintops.
Glad to hear it. Jormungandr's a big softy when you get to know him.
And now that things aren't quite so desperate, raider attacks have declined. It's progress.
Getting back to that image of you on the shrine. I'll grant you ambition can be a poisonous motive, but your ambitions are only to help people, not for your own glory, right? Make the world a better, safer place. I think maybe that image of you is symbolic of your desire to walk the righteous path. Valhalla's little signpost.
You're sure accepting Freya's offer is the right thing for me? Or for the realms?
I think we're here to make sure about that, one way or the other. What is the state of Svartalfheim?
It's been tough. The dwarves had been under Odin's thumb for so long. Now they're having to completely reshape their economy to provide for themselves again. Many are looking to Durlin and other outcast members of the old resistance for guidance. But thus far, he's refusing the call. The wounds are deep and will take time to heal. Once they do, Freya thinks Durlin would be a welcome addition to the council.
What else happened that night between you and Sigrun?
We stayed up much too late. I told her stories, she told me secrets. She put spirits to my lips, even though I can't get drunk. Then she invited me to watch her fall asleep.
And the next morning?
The next morning we took a boat along the Lake of Nine. It was divine, brother. The lake was sun-dappled, the air was crisp and perfect. You could smell the thaw.
When did you misspeak?
You know me too well, brother. We were on the lake when I put my metaphorical foot in it.
Where? Tell me. What happened between you and Sigrun on the lake?
Well, she was rowing past where you found her family treasury.
Where we learned she cursed her brother over forbidden love.
That's right. And as we rowed by, I remember feeling grateful that the place was now deep underwater where she couldn't see it. And at that moment, she turned to me, and she said, I think, Mimir, I might be smitten with you. I think maybe I want to kiss you. Indeed, brother. I mean, there's always been more to us than there's been the opportunity to explore. So much unspoken, beneath the surface. For her to name it so boldly, we have been off guard.
You and Sigrun. I am still waiting for the part where you spoke.
In my defense, I only told her the truth as it struck me in the moment. I told her my feelings for her were deep as Rand's Hall and had been for as long as I'd known her. But just then a kind of revelation came over me. A sudden cold clarity that it was vanity to imagine that I, as I am, could be enough for her as she is. So I heard myself tell her that I didn't think I could give her what she needed.
Now, I am mad at you.
Pile on, brother. I deserve it.
So, you told Sigrun you could not give her what she needed. You spoke out of cowardice.
Aye, obviously. But as prospects for terror go, can you imagine knowing all along you're not enough for someone? And then living out their slow realization of that truth? I admit it chilled me to the bone.
You presume to know how she will feel in the future. Why discredit her wishes and yours in the present?
I just can't pretend not to know better. She's romanticized the idea of us. Certainly I've done the same. But is that anything to do
Mimir,
with the future?
let's talk later. I need to focus.
Time to push along. Understood.
Now, back to Sigrun and your low opinion of yourself.
Look, brother. I don't apologize for wanting her to have someone who can be everything to her. She deserves the best.
Then why should she not deserve the smartest man alive?
Sometimes I think you've come too far, brother.
Did I overstep?
No, Kratos. I appreciate your point. And to be fair, if I was so right, then why am I so angry at myself?
I am listening.
So, there I was, Little Miss Brawl Magnet. If I wasn't starting the fight, I was the first one charging in to join it. Maybe it's something in the Asgard water, but seemed like there was always a fight to be had. I guess I needed the rush, something to keep me sharp, feeling alive. I was driven, without fear or frankly much sense, to hold me back. Got myself a bit of a reputation, and that ended up being a problem. This notorious bully I'd humiliated held on to a grudge and tried to track me down. Found out way too easily who I was and where I lived. Set out to teach me a lesson. We'll pick it up there when you progress further.
Proceed.
If you remember, my father had fallen ill. It was bad. An illness unknown to us. I offered to fetch the mage healer from the city, but my father refused. He insisted herbs were the only way to help him. You can guess what happened next. He was gone before the spring. I was devastated. In time, I grew to hate my father's philosophy and dedicated myself to healing through magic. It was a blind rejection of an entire field, because I believed it failed my father, because I blamed his death on his faith. The truth is, I traded one limiting perspective for another, but I wasn't ready to see that yet. That's a good place to stop for now.
Go on.
So, the bully with a grudge. He comes to the inn in the dead of night, chucks a bottle of fire through the window, sets the whole place ablaze. The coward thought I was inside in bed, but luckily I was just getting home. I saw the flames shoot up and surround where my father was sleeping. Well, this wasn't gonna be the day I started hesitating. I charged into the fire and dragged him out. Not unscathed exactly, either of us, but alive. And if I was too angry and fearless for my own good before, now, well, I charged right into that bastard's lair, me against his whole gang. Honestly, I had no business coming out of that alive. As it turned out, I came out of there with a job. But we'll get to that next time.
Congratulations, old friend. You really are going places in Valhalla.
Where's Mimir?
Is that really all you have to say to me? After all this time, can't muster up so much as hello for one of your most auspicious victims?
Hello, Helios. Where is Mimir?
How should I know? Why don't we go look for him? So, what's new with you, Kratos? Murdered any good pantheons lately? Devastated any populations with the cataclysmic consequences of your actions? Turned on any once trusted allies? You simply must bring me up to speed on your latest saga of blood-soaked vengeance.
I am that no longer.
You don't mean to say you've gone soft? Never believe it. Once a Spartan, always a Spartan. No, there's no fooling me, Kratos. You know what they say? You can't hide in the shadows from a sun god. At least, that's what they should say. Say, the decor is looking a little more familiar, isn't it? A mighty chain. Auspicious sign. You've always had such luck with chains. This is all gonna work out just great for you. I can feel it. Now this room must really take you. Wasn't this the Chamber of Sacrifice? Where you let an Athenian soldier burn to a crisp, just so you could get past the room? Oh, those madcap early days. How you must miss them. What are you doing, Kratos? You mean to sacrifice me? Again? Oh, good. You're making eye contact as you push me towards my demise. What a special little personal touch. Really lets me know where I stand. Especially after such a long and agonized deliberation over what to do. Oh, how reluctant you'll tell people you were to sacrifice me to the flames. I hate to disappoint you, you blithering idiot. But you do remember I'm a sun god, right? You think I'm afraid of a little fire? Don't threaten me with a good time, Kratos. Maybe I'll be infused with power and achieve my final form. Maybe I'll explode and take you with me. Let's just see what happens. Let's just see. Time for another push. Let's go. Okay, seriously, Kratos, get me out of this cage. It's not funny anymore. I can't believe you mean to roast me on a whim on a presumption that it's what Valhalla wants from you. Have you ever considered that maybe your instincts are just random thoughts that pop into your head, no more likely to be true than the next? Maybe consider that. Quickly! You're really just going to incinerate me and see what happens? I swear, you haven't changed one solitary...
Brother? What am I doing in here?
Mimir. Mimir.
What's that?
No. No!
Get me out of here! Brother! What is this? Help me!
I'm trying!
Brother! Please! Please!
Do not panic. We will simply return to the gate.
I don't think so! I think you've broken how Valhalla works! Oh! I think this is it, brother!
Let's get you out of here!
Sigrun!
supposed to be here! Hokari Fatal! Mimir!
Oh no! You poor thing, look at you. You shouldn't have done that.
Oh, heal, dummy. You and Kratos would not. But you're safe now.
Sigrun, I'm sorry. I've been so foolish.
Later, love. I need a moment.
We are forever in your debt.
As I will be forever in yours. My lady! Stop. You've seen me worse.
I'm not sure about that, boss.
It's nothing air can't heal.
This could take some time.
Go on, Kratos. Get back in there. And do what you need to do.
Well, that was altogether bloody terrifying. One moment I'm in a forest, the next I'm in a cage full of fire.
You changed into Helios, and back again. It was unpredictable.
I'll say. I'm truly not sure if we've gone too far, or if we've come too far to stop.
We are not stopping. I must face this.
I'm not permitted that memory of Vanaheim now. Brother, I beg you not to remember the exploding plants.
What did you say about a forest? You remember being elsewhere when Helios took your place?
Aye. Guess I didn't mention that while we were plummeting, but yes. I was in a forest, much like that of my youth. Back on my old body, too. It was a bit dreamy, to be honest.
Do you wish to return there?
I can't say I don't. I'm concerned, but I'm more than curious. Guess my memories are fair game in here as well. Don't suppose they'll just stick to the pleasant ones, will they?
Unlikely.
Oh, I still can't bear the thought of Sigrun having damaged herself to save us. Or having damaged her connection to Valhalla, which she'd doubtless say was worse.
Will there be consequences beyond her injuries?
I don't suppose I can be sure of that either way. But I'm certainly going to begin worrying about it now. Thank you kindly.
Kratos, I've been waiting to have a word with you.
Where's Sigrun?
She is resting, healing. What she did for you two in there, that should not have happened. It's bad enough you're risking your own lives, but it isn't just you paying the price. This is exactly what I was worried about.
Freya, what do you wish? That I quit? Sigrun believed I should see this through. That Valhalla can help.
Yes, she does. I just want you to be careful. I need her. And I need you too. No more bending the rules in there. All right?
All right.
Hello, me again.
If I must carry you, make yourself useful. Say what you see in battle.
Aye, aye, asshole. Here we are. Let's see what brilliant move you've thought of. Kratos? Surely you're not supposed to. You know what? Never mind. I'd like to see this.
Brother? Oh, where are we now? Tyr!
The invitation was yours.
I would have signed it, but it was important you come here for your own reasons.
Then you're not an illusion.
Here in the flesh, old friend.
What do you want?
I know what you're wrestling with, Spartan. I understand it better than you realize. The shame. The doubt. The question I could find no answer for until I came here. Lifetimes ago. Stepped through that door.
What is in there?
I'm not here to spoil that for you. Only to help you prepare.
Why?
Because I can. Because for us, fighting occupies the body, while our minds work out the rest. Because you're not ready. Yet.
Did Valhalla return you to your forest last time?
Aye, brother. And this time I wasn't alone.
Were you attacked?
No, far from it. Apparently my Valhalla isn't the stuff of constant combat at all. The memories of mine it draws on are more interpersonal. To wit, I found myself reliving old times with my former crew of fairy folk. Cobweb, mustard seed, the whole pack in there do well. Such warm greetings for their old ringleader, like nary a day had passed.
Sounds pleasant.
Rather was, to be honest. I remain suspicious, but if this process is doing something for you, I remain open to seeing what it has in mind for me.
I'm back! What a thrill! Oh, I meant to ask, how did you like setting yourself on fire? Truly entertaining stuff. Sorry to miss how it ended up. I think maybe you still have some ash on your skin. Am I crazy?
Before you ask, yes, I was back in the Old Forest again. And this time I encountered my former boss, King Oberon. Rather eye-opening, actually. I used to be a true believer for him. Would have done anything he asked. But now I see through all that charisma and feigned wisdom down to the small, hypocritical tyrant I know him to be. Wait till I tell you what he put me up to regarding a particular magical flower.
You wish to tell a story of your first master.
Aye. Seems to be the very story Valhalla has me reliving, in fact. Oberon fancied himself a romantic, you see. Always claimed that love was more important to him than anything. One time, he led his entire entourage on a journey to attend the wedding of some duke or other, near your old neck of the woods. The groom, this lordly prick, had conquered a warrior queen and was marrying her as part of terms for peace. And this somehow was so romantic to Oberon that he dragged us across the sea to pay respects. Never mind, he was quarreling with his own queen the entire way. Well, I'll have more of that one, to be sure. As I was saying about my old master and his lofty, so-called romantic ideals, we'd settled in a forest outside of Athens, a place well situated to observing the comings and goings of the Duke's other guests. There we observe the romantic complications of some local use, and Oberon gets it into his head to intervene. Bids me fetch him a magical flower that can manipulate the affections of others. Supposedly, the idea was to nobly help true love prevail over the pressure of family arrangements. But what he really wanted was to use the flower to torment his own wife.
I see why you...
Sorry, brother, but maybe we reserve our talks for safe spaces.
I am listening.
If you remember, I had shunned my father's herbal medicine after I'd failed to save him. I left my village and moved to the city. I scraped and scrounged, managed to survive, and became an apprentice to a renowned mage healer. I soaked up everything I could from her, And I was a natural, it turns out. Shedding my father's legacy came easy. In fact, I'd acquired quite the distaste for it. I cut herbal medicine out of my life completely. It was this rigidness that would prove the biggest mistake of my life. But I'll stop there for now.
Brother, while I'd love to say I left Oberon's service as a matter of principle, the truth is, it was much more a question of pride. If he'd simply shown me more appreciation, who knows how long I might have tolerated his evils. I certainly tolerated plenty from my subsequent employers before I could take no more. If I'm being honest, I was only too happy to offer my complicity in Queen Titania's humiliation.
What did you do?
I caused her to fall in love with something preposterous. An actor.
Your old master. He had you make his wife fall in love with another.
Aye, temporarily, by use of this magic flower. Though now it's clear to me the flower's effect isn't love exactly, but a kind of obsessive devotion that is too often mistaken for love. So of course the Queen made a fool of herself, as did all those under the flower's spell that night. Don't know how I ever got embroiled in such a farce.
You are wiser now.
I think so. Though that
Freya.
only makes up... Brother, while I'd love to say I left Oberon's service as a matter of principle, the truth is, it was much more a question of pride. If he'd simply shown me more appreciation, who knows how long I might have tolerated his evils. I certainly tolerated plenty from my subsequent employers before I could take no more. If I'm being honest, I was only too happy to offer my complicity in Queen Titania's humiliation.
What did you do?
I caused her to fall in love with something preposterous. An actor.
Your old master. He had you make his wife fall in love with another.
Aye, temporarily, by use of this magic flower. Though now it's clear to me the flower's effect isn't love exactly, but a kind of obsessive devotion that is too often mistaken for love. So of course the Queen made a fool of herself, as did all those under the flower's spell that night. Don't know how I ever got embroiled in such a farce.
You are wiser now.
I think so. Though that only makes up for so much past stupidity.
I am listening.
Last thing I told you was that I'd become an apprentice to a mage healer of renown. I learned much from her. Not just about the healing arts, but about how to live a complete life. A whole life. True to yourself. She was like a mother to me, which made it all the more painful when she too fell ill. It was the same illness that had taken my father. But this time would be different. It was my chance to apply everything she taught me to try and save her. Anyway, I think that's a good place to pause my story.
I will hear.
I was in the fight of my life with the thugs who burned down my father's inn. Suddenly there's this sound, this flapping of feathers, and who should appear but Sigrun herself. Not yet queen, but by reputation, the best fighter the Valkyries had in memory. I was awestruck. She was confused. The violence, the mayhem she sensed, she expected to follow it to a battlefield full of honored dead, not a hideout in the slums. I apologized to her for not sending worthier souls to Valhalla, and Sigrun offered to take me under her very impressive wing. But we'll cover that part next time, all right?
I will hear.
If you'll remember, my teacher had fallen ill. Everything she taught me, I poured into trying to save her. But it turned out mage healing wasn't enough. I realized that only a combination of mage healing and herbal traditions could save her. But I'd let my knowledge of the herbal arts fade away. And so, I failed her like I failed him. And she passed into Hell's embrace. It took a long time to get over that. Anyway, I'll stop here for now.
I know this.
You remember this, Kratos. The memory is vivid. A familiar scene to any that know your legend. The man at the crossroads of a fateful decision.
Aye, you've spoken of this, brother. The pact you made with Ares. to stave off the barbarian horde.
The day I sold my soul to a god of war. Why show me this?
Well, if I had to guess, probably to make you feel like the piece of shit you are.
Is he necessary?
He's no part of my design. He's either Valhalla's or yours.
At least he hasn't replaced me again. Not yet, anyway. Seems a real charmer. A memory fragment of your time in Alfheim, then?
Tell me, who was Kratos of Sparta the day you made your pledge to Ares?
I was the youngest captain in the Spartan army. I had gained a reputation for my skills in combat, my command on the battlefield, but also my aggression. I was determined to never lose, and until then, never had. My men were loyal, fiercely so.
How many Spartans did you command?
Not enough that day.
How many barbarians did you face?
Thousands. Dear, why help prepare me to take your old position? Why not fulfill it yourself? You seem capable.
To the mortals of these realms, I am an ancient myth, long out of mind. The days I can hope to unify these realms are long past. But they see you as the hero of Ragnarok. You are known and respected. And from what I have seen, you're the most qualified by far. You need only be ready.
We meet once more, Ghost of Sparta! I must say, it's genuinely hard to think of anything stupider than pledging your soul to Ares of all people. I mean, any of Zeus's brood are bound to be garbage, present company by no means excluded. But Ares made a real art out of being vicious and depraved. Though, I suppose I can't begrudge you your role model. I see you still use the blades he gave you. Can you really say you regret a decision, and still keep benefiting from the trappings of that decision? I'm not sure, I'm just asking. You ever try to do the math on how many people died as a result of your little collaboration? Like contemplating the grains of sand on a beach, isn't it? Just overwhelming, honestly. Looks like someone left you a party favor. Oh, and it's a symbolic totem of your shame. That's so thoughtful. Ah, now you've done it. You're being judged. And we all know your past actions wouldn't pass muster with anybody.
Greetings, friends. Any questions before you get started?
I was wondering, actually. Did Odin ever try his hand at Valhalla?
Of course. He explored it very thoroughly, in seeking to gain control of the Valkyries. But in the end, he found nothing here he could use. You see, Odin always looked outside himself for answers. But Valhalla only reveals its secrets to those who do the work of looking within.
Sigrun has been important to you for as long as I have known you. What happened in the beginning?
Oh, it's a typical enough story. A boy meets girl, girl fulfills her ambition to transcend the physical plane and become a Valkyrie of Valhalla. One day, Sigrun quietly arrived from Fjotalund and began serving as Freya's handmaiden while she undertook training for the Sisterhood. I don't even think we were introduced. I just see her around the court. Of course, I'd observed her loveliness and impressive stature long before we fell to talking. But we seemed cut from different cloth, I suppose. Never occurred to me we'd get along as well as we did.
You and Sigrun, how was it you first spoke?
Back when Freya was queen in Asgard, the better times, there really began to be some culture around the place. Poets, musicians, the odd contortionist would pay visits, perform, mingle. On one occasion, I'd taken a seat expecting to see this balladeer of the lowlands, when Sigrun walked in. Somehow more stunning than I'd ever seen her. And when of all places she chose to sit next to me, well, a lot of very interesting things happened very quickly. But I may need to collect my thoughts while you get us killed again.
Let us get back to your memories of Sigrun. She sat beside you.
Yes, she chose to sit next to me. No big thing, really. Yet, somehow, despite myself, I felt her rush in my stomach like I was a green lad again. Embarrassing at the end of the day, to be so simple. I made some remark, and I learned how it felt to make her laugh. And suddenly I felt more at ease. Almost eerily so. A calm within each other's storms, I suppose.
Very way of describing that. Peace dwells among us.
But let's stop there for now, brother, and let you do your work.
Mimir, you may speak more of coming to know Sigrun.
Right. Where were we? After the ice was broken, we fell to talking more regularly. Even making a point to do so. It was all I could do to enjoy her company responsibly. Staying mindful of our respective positions and keep from crossing any line that would make things difficult for us to recover from.
Wise.
Well, mostly. I'm always
This
wise.
conversation will have to wait.
Understood, brother.
Mimir, what happened next with Sigrun?
She had introduced me as a good friend. And though I couldn't be entirely sure what she meant by it, for once I wasn't concerned with an outcome. Regarding Sigrun, I knew my answer was yes. The question itself, secondary.
You were not upset she called you friend.
Show me someone for whom friendship means lack of love, and I'll show you someone who wonders why their lovers never end up being worth their time.
Perhaps. But you did not express your feelings.
Oh, I don't think she could have escaped noticing them. I just never asked her anything I felt sure she'd have to refuse.
Your relationship with Sigrun. Why so reluctant to tell her how you felt?
She was on the Valkyrie's path, preparing to transcend her corporeal form. That was her focus, chosen purpose. And I didn't want to suggest myself as an obstacle. I suppose I let some part of myself imagine she might recognize my affection, even reciprocate it. But now that we know what she was running from, obviously she never again risked choosing love over duty. A unique, heartfelt friendship, that is what could endure. And that is what I chose to embrace. Kratos, the key you found. Whose was it? What did it unlock?
It belonged to a boat captain I met during a battle on the Aegean Sea. His ship was part of a fleet under attack by a Hydra. The key unlocked his quarters, where I heard women screaming for help.
Ah, yes. The story of your fight with the three-headed sea serpent. You impaled one of its heads on the ship's mast, was it?
Yes. But that battle is not why this key appeared. It is my killing of the boat captain for it that seems to follow me wherever I go.
The key again? More to the story?
Yes, when there is time.
Mimir, can you hear me? Has my voice broken through?
Sigrun? Yes! Hello! How are you talking to... How long have you been able
I
to
haven't
hear?
been listening to you. There's just something I needed to tell you. Valhalla is displeased with me. It wishes a penance of sorts. Trials to reforge my loyalty. I haven't decided what to do, but I hoped we could talk about it.
Aye. Let's do. Next time we die, or Kratos gets a headache.
Dear, when you came here long ago, was it for this same decision?
Not exactly. I was already god of war when I began the process. I was having a crisis of sorts. Doubting my abilities. Some. Doubting I could live up to the way some saw me. I was thinking of walking away. But then I learned recently. I knew I owed it to myself, and to the Nine Realms, to take the challenge. To look within, and find my truth.
Lucky thing. Without you keeping Odin in check as long as you did, I can only imagine how much worse things might have turned out. Sigrun, what's this about Valhalla questioning your loyalty? I thought everything was all right.
It is. For you are alive, and I am no longer in pain. But my transgression was not without consequences. Valhalla has penalized me. I could not enter now if I wanted to. In fact, I am not sure if it will welcome me in death.
What? That can't be right. No one's more worthy of Valhalla than you. You can't have sacrificed that for my sake. It's not fair.
There's no blame to place here. When you do what you know is right in your heart, the results are not always what you hope for. That doesn't mean it was the wrong decision. Now please, we've kept Kratos long enough from his journey. I insist. Go. We'll talk more.
Mimir, you asked of Odin's efforts to conquer Valhalla and the Valkyries with it. But was Valhalla not his creation, along with all of Asgard?
Well, he certainly liked people to think so. And Valhalla served his interests, even if he left the Valkyries to do their work. But in fact, Valhalla and the Order of Valkyries are a force more primordial than any he could hope to bend to his own personal loyalty. Kratos, about this boat captain. If you needed his key to save others, why did it seem to bother you so? Your actions in this case seem justified.
The captain was swallowed by the Hydra before I was able to kill it. When I entered its maw to retrieve the key, the captain had somehow survived, dangling over a fall that would surely kill him. I saw the terror in his eyes as he fought to hold on, and in relief, I would save him. Instead, I took the key and dropped him to his death. And it was all for nothing.
Brother, we best continue this later, no?
You may speak.
Sigrun, mightiest of the Valkyries, saw me in action and thought I had potential. Wanted to train me in the ways of the sisterhood. But I wasn't so sure. A knack for violence is one thing, but serving a higher cause, taking on the responsibility of choosing the slain, me, Gunnr of Blackheart Alley? For once, I hesitated. I couldn't make myself believe it. But Sigrun told me to put everything out of my mind but the work. Mastering each new skill. Discovering what I was truly capable of through discipline and focus. Letting excellence be its own reward. Really opened my eyes. But we'll wrap it up next time, okay?
Ah, the key again.
We will talk later.
Brother, you've told me many times of mortals you killed when in the god's service. What is it about this boat captain?
It would have cost me nothing to show him mercy. His life was in my hands. To be so casually cruel, This man did nothing to me, and I treated his life as nothing. He was not a god who manipulated me nor found me in service.
Sorry, but now's probably not the time to get any deeper into that.
I yield, Kratos.
Very well.
I believe you found an understanding within yourself. Shall we see?
Pools. It's not only memories.
Indeed. For what is a memory apart from our perspective on it? You know the evils that came of your path. You know the evils within yourself. Yes, these you dwell on. But it's not that simple, is it?
The Horde is vast, brother. What would have happened if you didn't stop it?
Our lands would have been overrun. Our people killed, violated.
People your army was sworn to protect. An army led by you. Did you not feel a duty to fulfill your purpose? Did you not fear for the safety of your homeland? You saved them.
You would excuse my actions.
Excusing them is not the exercise, Kratos. Only accepting them. Accepting that you acted based on what you knew then, not on what was to come. Your motivation and their consequences are far more complicated than you let yourself believe. I think perhaps you have more to process.
Yes. I have much to think about. I will return.
And I will be waiting.
Go on.
Last time I was telling you how Sigrun helped me harness my anger and hone my skills. Training with her and my other future sisters, I never felt so challenged. Never felt such belonging. But part of me still couldn't believe I deserved to be there. all that community and purpose and meaning could be mine. If only I could master the one enemy I was afraid to face.
Yourself.
Damn right. I had to stop telling myself the story of all I could never be because of where I came from. When I focused instead on my intentions and my preparation, that's when I truly mastered myself. But I'm not telling you anything you don't know. And it's not as though there weren't more trials ahead, more to overcome and master. My point is, I get why you're doing this. And I truly wish you luck.
Thank you, Gunnr.
Sigrun, I wanted to tell you, Valhalla keeps sweeping me away to my own adventure in memory.
I wondered if it would. That's wonderful. What is it showing you?
Some particular events of my wayward youth. But they're in a loop of sorts. Not sure I've quite gleaned what it all amounts to.
Then you must do what you do in Valhalla. Keep going.
An infamous act. One they still spoke of in the years of rebuilding. I somehow doubted they meant it so literally.
I'll give you this, brother. Your technique has improved immeasurably.
I needed his power to secure my vengeance against the gods. I believed I had no choice.
No choice? You could have not ripped my head off my body. That was absolutely an option.
And he's back.
But that wasn't the worst of it, was it, Kratos? Killing me deprived Greece of the sun. They were plunged into perpetual cold and darkness. Crops ceased to grow. Famine descended on our homeland. Not that you cared.
Enough.
He is bitter, isn't he?
Kratos, I'm curious. Your decision to behead Helios, was it fueled by any personal motivations? Or was it really just a means to an end?
It was not personal. I did know him, long before I killed him. He was as insufferable as any god. But his death brought me no satisfaction.
Did you know what would happen as a result?
When Helios was captured by the god of dreams, the lands fell into darkness and were not restored until his return. I knew exactly what would happen.
Kratos, I hope you'll forgive me for overhearing. But before you first found your way to me, you were grappling with the symbolism of your former seat of power. May I offer a perspective?
Nay.
Before I became God of War, I felt as hesitant as you do. I feared that taking the throne would only validate Odin's power hierarchy, which even then I didn't trust. But I decided I could wield a better influence on the inside than on the outside. There are many ways to lead. Not all of them involve ruling. The throne and the office are only what you bring to them.
Sigrun, inside we encountered a son of Thor.
It wouldn't really be him in there, I can assure you. You have a memory of a past fight, and I'm sure Valhalla takes advantage.
But why him?
I don't think that's for me to say.
Well, something for us to ponder in between melees.
Tyr, earlier you spoke to me as though I seek to lead. As if I were someone to be followed.
Your self-criticisms, valid and otherwise, seem well reflected here in Valhalla. It's no accident that your mind manifested that throne. More than a symbol. It's a challenge to revisit your assumptions. Mimir is right. You have the power, and I think the wisdom, to redefine what it means to you. To assert that power is to prove to yourself that the chair doesn't change you. It doesn't make you a new person. Not if you know who you are and why you serve.
Mimir? I've been thinking a lot about the costs and risks of what Valhalla would put me through to affirm my loyalty. It's enough to make me question not my love of this place, but is it really what's most important to me? If I can't answer that, then perhaps I am not ready for such a decision.
Then you should take all the time you need. Absolutely. If Valhalla isn't what you truly need, then you have a rare opportunity to reassess your priorities.
I'm glad you agree. Mimir, I had a thought. What you said to me, but you didn't think you could give me what I needed. I'd been trying to figure out why you'd say such a thing. I know you don't say things without a reason, even if you don't know what it is at first. But I think I figured it out. It's not that there is anything lacking in you. It's that in the end, nobody can give me everything I need to be happy. Not even Valhalla. That's something I have to give myself. And to do that,
you need to find yourself. It's true. And we're saying that's what I meant all along. Clever, aye?
I'm sure you can see by now, Valhalla has a way of making you learn what you need to learn. Perhaps it does so with me, even now. Making such demands so as to give me doubts. Long ago, I gave myself completely to love, and it destroyed my home and family. Then I threw myself into the service of Valhalla and found a new family in my sisters. But what if that's not where my story ends? It's time I finally found my path. Not because...
Don't interrupt, dear, but we are pushing along.
No worries. Valhalla calls.
Kratos! It's been not nearly long enough. And lest we forget, Kratos, lest we neglect to place your deed in full and proper context, I saved your life. Me! And you literally tore off my head for my troubles. Imagine if all your new friends knew how you used to treat your old friends. Of course, you're not the same man, right? Now, you only get your friends killed through lack of foresight. Far easier to blame others that way, am I right?
I know you are a projection of the mind. But for what it is worth, the death was unjust.
Oh, how touching. Yeah, not actually worth the spit it took to mumble that out. Do not do that again. Nobody wants to hear that from you. A little something to remember me by. I truly hope it brings you unrelenting torment. Chills you just a little when they do that, doesn't it? Feels like judgment.
I yield. I yield.
Good then.
I don't think you are indifferent, Kratos. I think you were hurt. Deeply hurt. And you handled it unskillfully.
Wait, is that you restoring the sun? You took Helios's chariot and put the sun back in the sky, but sacrificed yourself in the process.
Yes. I fell to my death, and was saved by Helios. But this memory happened before I killed him. My evils were yet to come. What is the point?
That your legacy has always been a complicated one. That goodness is not a destination we arrive at, but a practice. Misfortune may drive anyone to darkness. We resist it only through wisdom and vigilance. You are not so unskillful now as you were then. Better voices in your head, you might call it. I think that's enough for now. You have much to contemplate.
Yes.
Back to the beach then.
You should be proud of your progress, Kratos. See you soon.
It seems like you're making progress, whatever you're doing in there.
Perhaps.
Listen, I know I made you feel like we expected more of you than you could give. And I just want you to know, I'm not asking you to change how you are or who you are. We had to break the old world to build a new one. Picking up the pieces and putting them together stronger. It's a rare opportunity. You made a difference here. In some circles, a symbol of change. On many days, just knowing that you're a part of the Council is enough.
And other days?
You've earned a voice. How you use it is up to you.
Go ahead.
As you recall, I failed my teacher and wasn't able to save her life. I'd let my aversion to my father's traditions stop me from being able to adapt to circumstances. After that, I spent many winters reconstructing his teachings, integrating them into my arsenal. I realized how important it was for me to practice techniques that don't come easy to me, or even ones I have every reason to hate and reject. Because then I'm armed for everything. Then I can adapt to whatever life throws at me. Anyway, that's my story.
Thank you, Heir. I understand.
A substitute daughter. A box full of evils. This one feels important.
This is your blacksmith story, isn't it? His girl was the key, and he died protecting her?
Protecting her from me. I opened that box seeking the means to kill Ares. And what I released.
Pretty much turned all the gods crazy. Thanks again for that.
Quiet, Head.
Unfortunate. The time I spend in my own Valhalla means you get more time with him.
Kratos, how well did you know the blacksmith's daughter?
Pandora. She reminded me of my own daughter, who I lost long ago.
I'm sorry, Kratos. Even at your most vengeful, you must not have wanted to see harm come.
Pandora was innocent. The way she saw things, she could reach me when few could. She deserved better than to be a pawn, sacrificed in a game of gods.
Your regret is palpable. But thank you for letting yourself remember. That is important.
I've come to a decision. At least for the time being, I'm going to step back from the price Valhalla has asked of me.
Good for you, Sigrun.
I think maybe it's time I traveled. Experienced these realms and the lands beyond, not as Valhalla's emissary, but as a person.
That's perfect. I've always dreamed of a grand sea voyage, seeing the world. Perhaps I could go with you. I've been told I'm a useful guide.
Perhaps. But let's not distract Kratos further.
All your righteous haranguing about how evil the gods are, you somehow gloss over that little extra nudge you gave them.
Opening the box was Athena's plan. I did not know the consequences.
You would claim ignorance of the consequences of trusting Athena? Is that your idea of a joke, Kratos? Because I admit it's hilarious. But let's be real, Kratos. Whether you should have suspected the consequences or not, you certainly can't claim that you would have cared about them. You wanted the power to kill Ares. And because you wanted it, everything is justified. That's your moral code at the end of the day, isn't it? To imagine you once again holding an office of solemn metaphysical responsibility. A trusted figure. A worshipped figure. The absolute gall of you to let yourself consider such a thing. I guess irony can have you when it earns you, or something. Oh, how precious. I don't think you can be trusted to keep that safe at all. Pretty sure he agrees with me.
A flute? Oh, will you play a song, brother?
It was my daughter's. But I will tell you of it later.
I'm having a bit of a sinking feeling. Sigrun doesn't want me traveling with her.
You knew that before you asked.
Did I, brother?
You know the journey she seeks. It is the one you took, and I took. The kind that brings you to the tests you need. The kind you take alone.
It's true. I gave in to a weakness. Even now, there's some part of me that just wants to tell her how much I love her and beg her to stay. And that's bloody selfish. I need to do better than that.
I think I know why I fight Thor's sons.
Do tell.
Like Atreus, they were children of a destroyer. Had I not changed, had I raised him as I was raised, subject only to authority, perhaps his fate would have been no better than theirs.
So, they reflect a bad road not taken? Fate avoided?
Perhaps. I also feel pity. Failed by their father, sent to die by their uncle, and belittled in death by their grandfather. What chance did they ever have?
Am I hearing guilt, brother?
Some. Perhaps imagining a fair fight is to honor them as life did not.
The flute you found. You said it belonged to your daughter.
I carved it for her as a gift. She enjoyed playing and was skilled with it. There was a song she would play. One I used to note of. But no longer.
Brother, if you mean to recount the story of the day you were tricked into killing your wife and daughter, you don't have to. You've told that story before. We know how it ends. You needn't relive it. That's not the story her flute brings to mind, is it?
No.
Mimir,
Sigrun?
about my journey. I need to take some time to understand who I am without wings and helms and missions, and without the lovely man within the timing yet to work out.
Are you sure we couldn't discuss this face to face?
I wasn't sure I could say the words if I had to look at your face.
Just promise you'll let me see you off. I won't have you setting sail without my blessing. And not that you need it.
Of course.
Have you a blessing to offer her,
I'll be combing Valhalla for one.
Mimir? The day my family died was not the last time I saw Calliope. I had journeyed to the underworld to rescue Helios. When I arrived, I heard Calliope's song on the wind and found her in the fields of Elysium. It had been long since I felt such joy. But it was another trick of the gods.
It wasn't her.
Worse. It was. The goddess of the underworld wished to destroy all of creation, Elysium included. She knew that for me to stand against her meant leaving Calliope behind forever. So...
I hate to interrupt, but time for the task at hand.
Welcome back, my friends. Any questions as you go?
I've one. We were told only those who had died could enter Valhalla. But I don't ever recall hearing when you died.
A bit of a technicality, to be honest. It involved a workaround to regain the arm Garm bit off. Really only glancingly involved the underworld, but Valhalla seems to count it, I suppose.
Brother, the choice you were given? To stay in Elysium with your daughter only to perish? Sounds like no choice at all.
Of course it was a choice. One I wished many times I'd made differently.
How so?
When I left Greece, Calliope was never far from my mind. I do not know how much time we would have had together in Elysium, but I would have traded the decades that followed for mere hours with her. It took meeting Faye for that feeling to go away, along with Calliope's song. But I do still think of her in Elysium, and hope she found peace.
Stop, Kratos. I yield.
Hard fought.
Let's see what your mind has worked out. When the evils of the box were purged, what remained was hope, which you chose to release back to the world.
Yes. After everything, you came back full circle to sacrificing yourself.
My death would have been just, but it was not to be.
Yes, you lived, and hope still lived inside you, from that day to this one. One might say you brought hope back to these realms after a long slumber. Box or no box, Kratos. Hope and fear and love and hate exist in every one of us. The question is, which will you choose to let guide your actions? Each choice we make shapes our world.
I see the truth of it.
And
I believe I am ready to walk through that door.
excellent.
What can I say to you? I remember how it felt to take that throne. All that it meant. And all that it did not. A god of war. God of pain. Of suffering. Of destruction. And no one said I chase redemption that I know I can never deserve. What does that make me? God of fools. A god of... hope. When all else is lost. You lost everything. And everyone. You became... There is no forgiving you. You chose! I chose. And now, should I, this same man, should I sit, take, proclaim, lead, place myself in service? In service? Should I lose everything and everyone? There's to be enough left inside so that I do not become you. I do not know. But I have hope. You are cruel and arrogant and selfish. But you are more than that. You have always been more than what others saw. You are more than that.
It's like I missed everything. Did you find what you needed? Glad to hear it, brother. We're done here then, so, what now?
Now, I believe I would like to sit here for a while.
Congratulations. I hope Valhalla
Look
gave you
who's
everything
returning
you
from the front gate for once. Something must have happened in there.
I take it this is a good...
I will join you. I will try to be what the people need.
Good. I'm very pleased to hear that. And that you found what you needed here.
I could not have done so without my friends. I am grateful.
Valhalla is at your disposal, Kratos. If you have more you wish to work out, now or later, we will heed the call.
You found the pendant of a necklace. Fancy.
I will tell you the pendant story. Soon.
Glad to see you back, Kratos. Perhaps you are finding a truth similar to the one I discovered so long ago. That as we desire to project peace in the world, it becomes necessary to honor and satisfy the fighter within us. Valhalla remains available to you as you need it. As do I.
I will see you soon, Tyr.
I do not doubt it.
Brother,
Do we
the
have
last
anything?
time Valhalla spirited me away to the forest, there was an interesting twist. As the revels ended, I found myself alone, still carrying the magic love flower, and I came upon a sleeping person. But it wasn't the queen, or the foolish youths. It was Sigrun, as I knew her before. I found myself faced with the proposition that with a few drops, I could make her care about nothing in the world so much as me.
What did you do?
I'm pleased to report that I crushed that flower with my bare hands.
I am glad to hear it.
The pendant you found, brother. Do you recognize it?
Much.
Does it have some significance?
Yes. It belonged to my wife.
It was Faye's.
No. My first wife, Lysandra.
Ah, I see. You know, brother, you've told me a great deal about your daughter, Calliope. But her mother is a bit of a mystery.
My thoughts on her are complicated. But she was a good woman, and I loved her more than she knew. She saw in me possibilities I could not at the time. In that way, she and Faye were much alike.
Sigrun, listen. You have choices ahead of you that none but you can make. I'll always be there for you when you need me. And if what you ever need is for me to let you go, then, damn it, I'd find a way. But whatever comes, I just want you to put yourself first for once. You're so much more than any office, any title, any function. And I can't wait to see who else you may become.
I'm so relieved you understand. Now that Kratos has found answers to his questions, I believe my service here is done. Arrangements are being made. Please, continue to seek what more you would seek within. I promise, I won't just disappear.
Lysandra's pendant.
I have more to say, but not now.
How are you faring? I know Sigrun's decision must be difficult. May I ask, deep down, what is it she means to you?
So much of everything good in what I am is only due to my wanting to be the person she saw me as. Take her out of the equation, and I wonder if I'd ever have stopped being a scoundrel in service of scoundrels.
Love can make us wish to improve. I was changed by what Faye saw in me. But losing her did not put an end to who I had become. Her inspiration remains.
Aye. I suppose being the person they turned us into is a way to keep them with us. Honor the impact they had on us.
Mimir, what you said about love turning you into a better person. I wonder, what if that better person was within you all along? You could only see it once it was reflected in another. As though love is the feeling of recognizing the potential in our own life.
You mean to say falling in love is really only about ourselves?
Not only that, one hopes, but the more we can own the part that is about ourselves, the more we can see others for who they really are, and love them, truly, in whatever form that takes.
Your first wife, Lysandra, you said she saw possibilities in you, but you didn't.
She suggested I did not have to be who I had chosen to be.
Oof.
That the carnage and suffering I inflicted on those my army conquered was a choice.
Both of these
Was
are very
another way. I refused to see it then, thinking it was my duty to annihilate all that stood in the way of the Spartan Empire. I believed leaving foes alive simply invited potential uprisings later, that enemies could never be turned to friends. I was wrong.
Lysandra's pendant again. I suspect your story isn't complete.
Yes, but
I know. Later.
Kratos, you mentioned a half-brother. Hercules.
he too was a son of Zeus. More like me than I care to admit. A powerful warrior, yes, but driven by an uncontrollable rage. He was jealous of me, thought I was Zeus's favorite. So, when the gods tasked him with 12 labors, he gave himself a 13th, killing me.
Instead, you took his life. Do you regret it?
No, he was dangerous. He wanted to be god of war for every reason but the right one.
Good. Credit to you for knowing the difference.
Mimir. Kratos. My time to depart draws near. The ways of Valhalla are familiar to you both now. You may continue and return as you desire. I'll wait for you on the beach.
We'll be there, Sigrun.
Are you all right?
Aye, brother. I feel a pain in an organ I no longer possess, but the sooner she sets off, the sooner she may return. Lysandra was clearly important to you. Why did you say your feelings for her were complicated?
Because she was a good wife, and I was not a good husband. I refused to listen, to heed her advice. I commanded armies, had responsibilities to them I thought greater than those to her. But that was hubris, an ambition. The truth is, it never even crossed my mind to consider her advice or needs. So, when I think of her, I can only see my failures. She deserved better from me. And that was long before my oath to Ares led to...
All that was to follow. I understand, brother.
Thank you to me for keeping an eye on them. Thank you, my queen.
My sister, Sigrun. Whether Valkyrie, Shield Maiden, or whatever else you should call yourself in time, I shall always be your sister. Do you hear me?
I hear you.
So this is it then?
For now. For however long.
Good. I mean, I'll miss you more than I can say, but whatever we ever were, or weren't, or might have been if the timing weren't just so... I need you to know that it mattered. All of it. Knowing you helped make me a person I can stand to be. And all I want for you in exchange is... everything.
I can't imagine A world in which I don't end up very close with you, my love. But let me come back to you whole. Let me come back not needing anyone to tell me what I need to be happy.
I can't begrudge you getting to know yourself. After all, it's been one of the great pleasures of my life.
Farewell, Sigrun, and good luck.
Thank you, Kratos. Farewell, my friends.
Fair winds, my love.
Come on. Finally. Why is this not broken? Automatically looted?
I'm back to brighten your day.
Why do you still return?
Oh? Did you think resolving your little issue would make me suddenly disappear from your mind? Oh no, Kratos. I'll always be here. You want me. Because I'll never let you forget what you did. And sometimes an ugly memory is the only thing keeping history from repeating itself. Know what I mean?
Shield Maiden.
This boon is yours. It's more than practicing techniques, isn't it? You're practicing an art.